is tell your people to get on that boat because the rains are coming and it's going to be a flood, and nobody that doesn't get on that boat will drown or there'll be nothing left. So he did what he was told, and he even put animals. That's why they say they got on a boat 2 by 2, and every animal that got on that boat, it had to be a female and a male. And the reason for that is that because they would have to multiply again once the flood reproduce. Same way with he got his family and he got the others to get on the boat, and it was always had to be a male and a female. So anyway, from what I know, I don't know everything because I didn't read it all. But anyway, that happened, and it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Not just sprinkling, but really, really rained. And the whole earth was covered in water. And finally the rain stopped. So these people that were on this boat, they were there, and so when the rain stopped, the boat finally, the water kind of rescinded and come down, and then when the flood all dried up, there was these people and animals that got off the boat, and they started, making their places again on earth, and started to reproduce and all that. So that's all I know about that, the Bible part of it. And our creation story tells that, I think how it connects is because they're saying, we're told that we lived in a place that they called Sky World. Now this is one creation story because there's other versions that we, as Native people, I guess Iroquois, because it's the Iroquois creation story, we lived in the Sky World, and we're told that in this Sky World.
But just wait a minute, Olive. Now you're telling us you know a little bit about the Bible part of it. Mm-hmm. And he put 2 by 2 on. Mm-hmm. Now, was there any indigenous people on that 2 by 2 that got on, or
that I don't know?
What does the Bible say about that?
That I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. This is just part of what I learned, like what I know from when I used to go to Sunday school, and this is what we were, what they would tell us. That's all I know. I don't know everything. I just know I just remember parts of it. What we were told is when I used to go to Baptist church, and they would tell this story, and they would even have a sandbox where they put figures in, when we'd put figures in there, and that was the story we were told. And then when I came to the language center, and we were told the Native people story, yeah. how we came to be. So the only connection that I can think of is because, like, we're in the Bible, it says that this earth, that as they knew it back then, was all covered in water because the whole world, or whatever, wherever it was, flooded. And that's why Moses was told to build a ship. So,
but where was the ship built? In what country?
I don't know.
In what part of this planet?
It's not here. It's in the old world. Because this isn't where they were. This is where we are, where we were put, as far as I know. Now, like I said, I don't know the whole story, so I can't answer your questions. because I'm just telling you the way I was told. At that time, we were just kids, and we didn't ask questions. We were just told a story. And then, like I said, when I got interested in the language center and got interested in the people that were there, and I think, if I'm right, I think the first story I heard was from Harvey, the creation story, how they know it. And like I said, the only connection that I could think of, even now when I think about it, is because they told us we as Iroquoian lived in what they call the sky world. So we lived up here, and down here was all water. So, is there a connection there? I don't know. Because when the world flooded, or wherever this place was that was under flood, was that why they're saying that when we lived in the sky world and they looked down and it was nothing but water? And that's the story that we were told, as you know, that's what even Dimas has, that creation story. And I've got documents where he tells a story, and that's the way he told it, is that we lived in the sky, what the place they call the sky world. And they say that when we were there, everybody lived in harmony, and it was a good place. And in the middle of wherever this land was, there was a tree, and it was called the tree of life, right in the midst of wherever these people lived. And they say that they had everything that they needed. They had food, they had fruit, everything growing there, everything that they need to survive. Anyway, the story goes, and maybe Terry can tell you a little bit more about it, because he's the one that did the research too on our creation story. Anyway, we were told, or the elders tell the story, that the Creator put this one man in charge of this tree that was planted in the middle of wherever they lived. And they were told that they were not to touch that tree, because I guess it was maybe apples, I don't know what was growing, but it was a fruit tree. And they were told they were never to touch it. But this man got married, and the one that was looking after this tree of life, he got married, and his wife was curious. Why is it that we can't touch that tree? And we're told that she, after a time, she was with child, and she kept pestering her husband, I want to see what's under that tree, why we're not allowed to touch it. So she got him to dig around the tree, and that's when they found out that under this tree there was nothing but water. Under this tree of life, there was nothing there but water. So anyway, one day, she was so curious. She thought, I'm going to see, what's underneath this tree, because he had dug a hole. So she looked, and that's what she saw, nothing but water. And as she was looking, she fell. She fell in this hole. And as she was falling, she grabbed a strawberry plant and the sacred tobacco, what we call sacred tobacco, the plant. And there was other plants that clung to her skirt as she was falling. And they tell us that she was falling for not just day, but the way I took it, it must have been, could be months or years. She was falling, and there was nothing but water. Anyway, one day as she was falling, the these birds said, I forget, not the tiganati, what was the kind? Said
The animals that were in the water, there was a turtle.
no, but the birds that were there, the birds that
The birds, they were the, what do you call them, swans or something like that.
it looked like ducks.
Yeah, they had their long necks on them.
Yeah, they all had long, big wings and all that. Anyway, while she was falling, the birds, they saw her coming down. So they said, well, let's go up and see what that is. So they went up, and here it was this woman, and they called her Sky Woman. She was falling from the sky world. Anyway, as the story goes, the bird said, what do? We can't just let her go, because now it goes back to what Perry is saying. There was the water animals that were swimming around. So the birds decided, okay, we're going to all get together and she'll land on our wings and we'll carry her down. And we'll ask these water animals if we can put her on one of their, put her someplace. Perry, carry on from there. That's
Go.
so because he knows the animals.
When the birds brought her down in the water, there was the turtle, there was a beaver, an otter, and a muskrat that were down there. So they got together and asked where they were going to put her. So when the birds came down, they said, "We'll put her on the back of the turtle, on the turtle's back, and that way it was big enough for her to place her." So that's where they put her. And then when when that happened, then they each there was the beaver, the otter, and the muskrat. They all dove down the water, taking turns down the water, looking for some soil or land or to put on her. So it was like they just knew what they were going to do. So that's what one beaver went first, and he was gone for a real long time. And then all of a sudden he came floating to the top. So otter went next, and he was gone for a real long time. And then he came up, and so muskrat was the last one. So he went down, and he was gone for a real long time. And then all of a sudden he came floating to the top. But inside of his paw he had some land or soil, and that's what they used to put on turtle's back. And once he put it on him, it started getting bigger. The flood came because of what the earth before is with all the animals, the dinosaurs. In order for the people to live, they had to get rid of the dinosaurs. So this is where the flood came from. They formed this flood that killed everything before. And so now the people so this is where the creation starts for the people and how we are able to live here. So it starts over again. This is I don't know, it's the second time or the third time it's reborn, the earth. Well, this is our version of the creation story. And then once that happened, the woman, she started walking around the back of the turtle. And as she walked, the turtle got bigger and formed, I guess, more land. One day when the woman was walking, she lay down, rested for a while. This took, I don't know how long it took. Like this was years and years that she was walking in order for it to get, I guess, the size it is today. So it wasn't just a few days, it was a long time this woman walked. But while she was walking, she got tired and she lay down for a while. And a male spirit came from the same place she did. And he came down and he placed two arrows across her belly. That's not how a woman gets pregnant, but that's the story how it goes. And then she had two twins. And it was these two twins that were born that started creating everything after they were born. One was born, came out the right way, and the other one, he came out through the armpit of her and ended up killed his own mother. So so what happened was one of the one boy, he wanted her to keep her, and the other one, he said we can't because she's dead, So he said, what are we going to do? So they decided to put her in the sky and placed her up there, and she became the moon. So that's where the moon comes from.
Grandmother Moon Latina don't quite.
Yeah, and then the man who got her pregnant with the 2 arrows, he tried to get back up into the sky world, but he couldn't. So he was placed there, and he became the sun. And then when that happened, that's when we got daylight and warmth on Earth, and that's when everything was daylight then, and we started. And by that time, the Earth was already being made. So when these 2 boys were born, they started making things, the trees, the animals, the waters, and then the flowers. One guy would make the flower, the other guy put like a rose. It's got those little pointy things on it. It was more or less for protection. The berries, they made all that stuff. And then 2 boys were born.
We'll tell them about Nala. There's always 2 things.
Yeah.
If you think, rose, the flower, rose. It's really nice to look at, but you touch it, there's thorns on it. So that's because of what he's saying, the twin. There was a good twin, Sayada Yate Taliwaye, Negadi Chigaya Yate Taliwaye Line, Wachinate Wahaduninen, Kakasayada Chigaya Lungo Iti, Wachinate Wahaduni Oknat Tota Sahada Yate Taliwaye, Doknate to Agiluin Wahet Gwa, Hayakoinulia Ken Hungwene, Nene Tonahaye. Nala, that's why they call them the bad twin and the good twin. And that one dasano tonyo gono gono ni sadenyo. Hagwe ko toni yot. Hagwe ko jok nate yotoni hagwe ko muskachi nate yoyan le kal muskachi nate wahet. I know when your dad used to tell us about the medicines, Norman, he talked about the medicines, and it goes back again to the creation story. Ohalo win naman ne tone chisungwa lo nyanyu he onukwa. Ohalo no kwa dons wada nikmula. Neji jet kunchi uska wahetka kal uska yoyane. No kwa dons wa yandeli hage chikayan yoyane. Daga neos wa kun chikayan iswa lewa. This is what Norman told us when he was talking about the medicines. That there's always 2 kinds. There's a female and a male in the medicines. And there's a bad one and a good one. So there's one always, he always said that there's one that's poisonous and one that's for medicinal purposes. So again, it goes back to that creation story, those 2 twins. So that's what connects us with that creation story. And when that woman walked around that turtle, it wasn't just days, it was years. And when it became land, that's why they called where we are now Turtle Island. See, when they talk about this, where we are, where the native people are, we're placed here. That's why we can't, if we have to do with language, we can't say, oh, well, I'm going to go back across the ocean and learn my language again. No, us, as Native people, Iroquois people, we're here, and we're here to stay because this is where the Creator put us. And it goes back to that creation story. And when you really think about it, it makes sense. Because, like I said, when that woman walked around, and it's not, like I said, it's not just days or months, it'd be years before it got big enough to be land. And when it was, it became, that's why where we are now is called Turtle Island. And you'll hear about that a lot of times when they talk about here. It's Turtle Island, and that's where we are. And it's like I said, we're here to stay, and that's where the Creator put us. From that, goes way back to that creation story. And like Perry said, there was always those two twins. And when you think about it, and like I said, even in the medicines, when we were listening to Norman tell us the story about the medicines, and that's what he said. You have to be careful when you pick medicine. And then it goes back, like again, like when I said about the way I heard it, like when I was a child going to Bible school or whatever, telling us a story about creation. They told us that when they 2 by 2, everything is in twos, male and female. Even the plants are like that. The trees are like that. Everything. There's always a male and a female. And that's why we keep going. Because of at least that's the way I was told by my elders. I know there's people that are older than me. I know I'm old, but there's other people that I used to listen to. And we were, like I said, when we were teenagers, like Annabelle and Clarabelle, and we used to always go and visit his grandfather, Tommy Day. And a lot of the stories that I know came from him, because we would listen. And nowadays the kids don't do that, but we did. And a lot of the stuff that I'm saying, and I know I've heard from different elders. The medicines we were fortunate enough to be invited to go to Norman's house, and he wanted to talk about the medicines that he had. And there was bags hanging on all over the place in his basement. They were all medicines, and I don't know where they went, but that's how it was back then. Anyway, I this is, like I'm saying, this is how it connects right now. What Perry's saying about those twins.
The other part was that when those two boys were going around making things, they came across this guy who they called Hadui, and he was in this field, and all these medicines were there. And so they asked him, he asked them what they were doing. So they told him, we're creating all this stuff, and he said, I'm the one that created it. And so they kind of had a little disagreement, and so they said, well, if you made this, try to make that mountain move. So he tried to make that mountain move, and he couldn't. So the right-handed twin said, you turn around, I'll do it. And he said, don't look while I'm doing it. So he made that mountain move. Just when Hadui turned around, he wanted to see what was going on, so he looked, and he hit his face on that mountain. That's why he got a crooked face. He bent his nose. So that's where that comes from in the creation story, that far. And so they said, what are we going to do with him? We can't do away with him. If he's the one that is the keeper of all the medicines, we might as well keep him. And that's going to be his responsibility. So that's how that comes about. That's how far back that goes, that in the creation story, Hadui, that guy, he was an actual guy, I guess. The two boys, one boy, there's two different parts. I was told one boy, because he was so bad, he was put in the water underneath, and the other guy, he was up in the sky. And then again, another version was the bad guy was kind of like rules the night, and the other guy the day. So I'm not sure where he went to. But the last part I don't really know about is the people, the man and the woman, when they were created. I guess how they were created. But they were what we were given. But once we were created, we were given the responsibility to take care of everything that was made: the waters, the trees, the animals, even the sky, the stars, everything. So that's how the creation story goes.
Kale Noah na gilo Guandege kale guasunde, the two, like the night and the day. Non etononi jawe down. Jitikan tehni asewi tehnika sayadat lungwe dio kale sayadat ya. Teka nyo chik ka waha sanet nen sekwaya disok wahalo. Ne chikaya ya te taliwaye li ne na hat stay listen guasunde. Hokne chikaya lungwe dio ne na hat stay listen guande. The good twin will look after the day, and the night, the evil twin will look after the night. Na la dignyoni na ne guande ke kale guasunde. Kale no tunyo chilo kas londe lo diksta hokunha. Na te wahet ka na ya wane guasunde ke gi. Ne winin chiwahunis, but right now I don't think it matters anymore. But that's what the elders used to say. That's why they tell us anything that's no good happens at night because of that. And it goes back to that creation story again about the evil, the twin that was that evil twin. Because, and if you think about long time ago, you know, that's how it was. Anything that was bad, happened at night. So anyway, that's what I know about that, because like I said, there's always two, like the night and the day. And we all know, that we have night and we have day. So again, there's always two. Like I said, it goes back to that creation story about those two twins, the twins that were born, and one evil and one bad, and one good. And Perry telling about the Haduis and what they were doing at that time, at least another part of that story, because I said the creation story, there's a lot more to it. You could go for days and just talk about that creation story, but the thing I forgot, I lost my train of thought now. What was I going to say? I don't know. Go ahead, Perry. I don't know what I was going to say, but I was talking about the difference between the two, like the two twins, and it all goes back. And when we think about it, it sounds like when sanyo tkaye lisa akweko tonyo chilo nyukilo le lo diksta hogun kan chiniawo slo winchi jodasa kale chinio chinwa ni ngwali ho da no ni ne toni ne ni yot kale toni no ni jawe down tikan lunde ka swilo diksta hogun kan nala na sato jake disnia seki wi wat disnia se wisanya ke yo kwides nias wacha twajiloni wa hunto jake no ni ne tona awa wa hodinya ko ni ne salan na ye chetlan na ya hasa hanilo wi sayat kala ten sanul hakala ya ni hanok ta sayat kala shikaya wes ninyak tawinyo chasli wa asla go na ya dos ni dana ye chetlan na ya has kadese tuki ni chi agilo ni to hadi akwe ko tanuma ko chada sawan chi ni chi ko no ni yong kyo no chi no nit wana class la kale chi na te wa gilo ya ni tau don set waya ya ke mo set waya te tane chi ni to wano to chi ko se ni no ni kiat ka la to chi don ta chada don chada sa ka no ni kiat ka la to hung ko hung. Perry, if you want to finish up.
I guess one thing I can mention now is the roles of the responsibility of the people. Once they were created, they started learning all about the uses, say like the trees, how to cut them down, what the purpose, like make their fire, cook their food. They made tools out of them. They made their shelters, and then the animals, when to hunt them. How to, the meat, when to make tan the hides and everything like that, make their clothes. Well, they started learning all that stuff, how to do it. And while they were doing that, they put words to that. They put words to everything. And it was at that time they started developing the language. And so even that language, that's how far back that goes when you start learning that. And it's like today when it was a group of people, like the women and the men got together and they start talking about their shared responsibilities to take care of everything that was created. So then that's what they started doing. They started learning how to do that. And this took a long time. Geez, about 300 or 400 years to learn and to develop that language so that everything they had words or names to it, even the families, the stars, the moon, everything, the 4 seasons, the winter, spring, summer, and fall. And I guess it's almost like today now where we want to know what this word is or what that word is and how do you say this. Well, that's the same thing they did way back then when they start learning. And then after they learned, certain families started learning, and they shared with other ones. And then everybody kind of shared back and forth, knew about the trees and about the animals and how to live with them. And it was at that time they lived, I guess they lived in peace or in harmony with everything for the longest time. I'd say about 400 years they lived like that after they started learning all that stuff. That's about it, I guess, for me, about the creation story.
Kan tui chỉ nát te hagilo chỉ nọ ni kwali hoda kano ni watawi nondi. It all goes back to that. That hagwa kui dait wana sundoni kale I chỉ son yo chỉ wa wachilata ti toni neni yo chỉ nọ yo tui wa gilo wi sanakla de song ha chiwa giwa ang sa toja ke you get a partner Nigyo Disney Sehati which at Wajiloni, then that's your family line. And what you say at la, what you kaya konake, Nigyo need maybe what don't got it. You say no need this at Wajilin. What you no can joke when the no need that Wajilin no kale. Nala jet kunt katati. Hagilo unquawaji, Kawajilati ki willadinatum. No ni at you know what got neat squall and we at no sahakale ne yet sagotika Nick we kawachilata tiki wa wakawa got to ni yet wakawachilata ti nala tonyochi you kia which it no yo tomati jetkuchi and kawachilata tikale to get tihan kakwanokchi kawajile family line kale and to get tihan clans kata no unka na te jinuni desa twajila nunka na te toyet to get the honey ne tigan ne gwito no ya te sa ya te chukmanu te on chiwahoni se ka we konelo na no te katsan unka ni se sat clan mother sanu te kiwa jinwan ya kwini te wakanu. I don't know if anybody knows that line. I don't know. But that's the way it used to be years and years ago now. They all knew where your family, who was in your family line. Tiginin yo chiwakan. Niwi ka te so tikan hakilo nin kan chijuko yan sa lo dikstoka suya kinadale nawi. So kung times kaya kung times ne ka siya waktos tanon lo dikstoka na. Nika kwinelo nan ten hatika latu. Yes, a loli chi nyochi. She sana is a liho tahak kale tonochi watabi nondi ane nate te hati hiya. There was nothing written down. It was all oral stories telling you. Nowadays, we write everything. Of course, it's different times. We all have to go with the times because we want our children and the creation story, there's different versions. It's not just the ones that we told, it's others. There's different versions. And even the people, like I went a long time ago, maybe 20 years ago, I used to go on a retreat every year I'd go for 2 weeks to Vancouver. And we would meet with all kinds of people from the different, like even the states, and all people from British Columbia, all native people. but we were all different. And I heard the creation story from this man from Arizona and their people's creation story, and it's almost the same as ours, but different things, because where they're from, they have different. Their landscape is different, so they have a different version, but it connects. And I especially like that because I was just new to being in the language part, like just here learning about the creation story, our creation story. So it was really interesting for me to hear all the different nations tell their creation story, and there wasn't too much difference. There was a little difference, just areas that we came from. That was the only difference, but a lot of it was the same. So and like I said, there's different versions. Like now, people will say, "Well, that's not the way I heard the creation story." Well, it's like I said, people tell it differently, but this is how we learned it. The way Perry and I are telling it, that's how we know it. I think this is where we're gonna make. Is there any questions? Does anybody have? Even though probably I can't answer, but even though maybe Perry or somebody else can answer. So, is there any questions that that you think that we didn't tell or didn't, or you had or you were wondering?
We came up.
I had a question. I can't remember what it was now.
I got no questions. I heard Olive's part about the Bible. I've heard that before. And I heard Perry's part. But I'll be honest, I was always much too young to pay attention to what when I should have been. Other things on my mind, but very interesting to hear again where I'm a little older and haven't got so much on my mind anymore. So it was good to hear what you had to say. Thank you very much. I won't go.
You hear?
Tiki no nakalan hak. That's where I tie my story.
Shut it down.
Nasli wahanilo tiga. That one nagiwa kalan hak. That's like, this is where I'm gonna end my story. Negi ona nagiwa kalan hak.
There's one more part I was gonna say. My dad told me just a couple of things about the creation story. And he said that when there was two boys, one made corn. It was real nice corn stalks. So the other guy, he went down to the swamp and water, those things that grow, and those big long things that got the brown on it. Well, that was his corn. So he said he went there. So then the other guy, so what happened next, he made this animal with 4 legs. He had real furry. He was real fluffy. And so his brother, he didn't like it, so he made his. And he didn't like it because it had no fur on it. It was just skin with a little bit of hair on it. And he said he kicked it right in the face. And he pushed his nose in. And I guess that's the pig. I guess that's where that comes from. So those are the two I remember that he told me. But there was more. There was more that he would tell me. But those are the two I remember.
Like that corn stalk you're telling about, that's two again.
Yeah,
one was a real corn and the other one was imitation, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and I think, that's a real important part of that creation story, is that there's always two. Mm-hmm. And when you think about it, it does make sense.
Do you think that that's born within us, that two, what we're gonna have? Like, I call it a habit, but what you said is true. It sounds true. If I buy a toaster I have to get another one, maybe a smaller one. Or if I buy, plate, I have to get maybe 2 sets. I've always done that. I don't know why. But maybe, what I'm thinking, maybe that's born within us.
It must be.
Instinct, I guess you call it. That's what I think,
We got our creation, our lives are connected. Everything that we do, even today, even though we don't realize now, today, it goes back to that creation story. Even though like now we don't realize that. We don't really think about what we're doing, but a lot of times that's what we're doing.
And I have 2 dogs. I used to have 2 cats, but now we adopted another one. So I always had to have 2 of this, 2 of that, I have to think about that sometimes.
Yeah.
Whether it's instinct for us, like a cat and a dog. No matter how small they are, you throw them in water, they can swim. They're born with that,
Before I heard about the creation story, I used to always wonder why they call this place where we live Turtle Island. I never knew about it. I'll be honest, I didn't know about it. But I used to always wonder, why do they call where we are Turtle Island? Until I got interested in listening to the creation story. And that's when I that's when I made the connection. Because if you go back to the Bible, the way the Bible tells it, that they called it the Great Flood, and it was to cleanse the earth because the people at that time were getting too mean. And that was the creation's way of cleaning it all up and starting anew. At least that's what I heard. And you think about it, and then it was they called it the old world. Turtle Island wasn't here at the time. So this is the new world. That's why we call Turtle Island, because from that creation story. I guess that's another part that I used to wonder about. Why do they call it the old world?
Anybody want? Old world.
Kale nuwan ko to chaka loda no screenan hong ko. No screenan hagilo lo diksto ho ko ne gwinen. Chaka yu. Chaka yung kan gwanu sa. Kale, that whenever they talked about across the ocean, they can chaka yung old world. Neki tukin wa niyo to hati isikono no skinin wa no agilo to takano to niyo ko lo diksta ko tukin na niyo chip. Now who slowly can cross the ocean neki then chaka yung. Why do they say that? Is it because it was there before here, and that Turtle Island, we became Turtle, and that Sky Woman fell, and we became Turtle Island? Is that why? We didn't exist in the old world, but we do here. And that's something to think about.
When we did not quite do something to new come,
Yeah.
I went over and got sunny then when on Chagayung get Turtle Island. Got sun not.
Well, we know.
What they caution.
We know the Turtle Island, like we know from that creation story that we were put here. The native people were put here. That's why we're always saying, "Hisak we ko no ni chung ko hisak we mungkwao ko no." Maki am down.
What they call it we on.